Hello, my name is Sheryl Shaffer. Welcome to another episode of Veterans Helping Veterans TV series. I'm really happy to return to the Media Center studio in Palo Alto today, and we have a special program for you today. I'd like to introduce my guest, Sandy Dee. She's the founder of A Pawsability for Veterans and her fantastic service dog, London. Sandy, I've known you for a while now, so I was wondering if you could tell us about your military experience, why you joined the military, and kind of what you did when you were in and what you got out of it when you got out.
Sure. Thanks for having me today, Cher. I really do appreciate it.
You bet.
Right on. I joined the military in 1980. I went to basic training in Fort Jackson, and then I went to satellite communications in Fort Gordon, Georgia. And it was very interesting to be in two places I've never been. And through that, I got to select where I wanted to go. And I spoke German fairly well, so I chose Germany and I got it. Little did I know that Germany was going to be the coldest ever, and I'm from Southern California, so they said I would see the world, and I did in the back of a deuce and a half, 60 days out in the field, 2 weeks in. And there was 4 women to 200 men. So needless to say, I learned to stay in my Mux van, so I was warm and I didn't deal with sleeping in the tents. So I was a little creative while I was in the military. So being a satellite, I was a 26Q satellite microwave operator, and we did the big towers with the communication type things, and we had to climb up there and set them up for battalion convoys and so forth. And we did that, like I said, 60 days out and 2 weeks in. So I did see the world, but on the back of a deuce and a half. And since I spoke German, I really enjoyed being there. And we did a lot with the Germans. And so when we went to their caserns, we got to drink beer at lunch because they drank beer and ate bratwurst. So I was really excited when we got to travel and do that. So my tour was a blessing, very cold, was glad to come back. I didn't come back to California, I ended up in San Antonio, Texas for a little bit, and then made my way back here.
So what did you do when you got out of the military?
When I got out of the military, I really enjoyed helping people. Both my parents were deaf, so I was always dealing with being an advocate. And I worked in San Diego for a while, but I ended up having some health issues, so I ended up moving to Long Beach. And while I had many appointments at the VA, somebody said, have I ever thought about volunteering? And I was like, well, I don't know if I want to volunteer. So I volunteered for 2 weeks and transitioned out of my other job, teaching, and I was wondering what I was going to do. And in that 2-week period, the Peer Center was looking for a facilitator, so I took that at ground level and I worked at the Peer Center, and we helped disabled veterans and homeless veterans get aware of the programs in the VA. And then from there I moved up to manager, and then from manager I got accepted into the women's mental health, and like to talk so much that I do, I put some programs together for the women, the homeless women and women with addictions. And what I did is I invented a group called I Matter, and I empowered these women to make a difference in their life and know that we could, you know, make a difference. And then I was there for about 5 years. Really loved it.
So what happened after you left the VA?
Well, I was currently working at the VA, and then my mom, the caregiver, dropped her and she became a quadriplegic. And she lived in a place called Hemet that I said I'd never go to. But I did, and I ended up taking care of my mom. My mom, both my parents are deaf, and I'm an only child. So during the transition of my mom being her caregiver, my dad all of a sudden started not doing well. He ended up having Alzheimer's. And so I moved both my parents into their home. And while they were in the house, I was really stressed. And a lot of people would drink, get coffee, do things like that. I kept running across this little dog at the park called a Vizsla. And the last 2 weeks that my parents were alive, I went to look at a Vizsla dog. And so I ended up having this little puppy. And when I was there looking at the dogs, my phone fell, and it was the London Bridge. It was during the Olympics in London, and it was really illuminated in gold. It was beautiful. And so I knew then that his name would be London, and he actually has angel wings, but you can't see him because he has a service jacket on. And 2 weeks later, my parents passed away an hour and 27 minutes of each other.
Wow. So he really changed your life.
Yes.
And how did he impact your life?
Well, being a little goofball for a while, it was quite challenging to have him trained. I went to Petco, and I was having a hard time with him, and I went to a farmer's market, and there was a lady there that says, "That's a Vizsla." And I'm like, "Yeah, how do you know?" She says, "Well, my brother trains veteran service dogs for free." So I went through his program, and he gave me the basics of training my dog. And I realized when I was there that I wanted to do more. I started really getting excited about giving him suggestions. We should do this, we should do that. And he's like, "All I do is service dogs." And he said, "If you don't like it, start your own." And I went, "Okay." So I had no idea what I was doing.
So that's how you started a Pawsability.
That's how I started it.
Veterans.org. And the original intent of the nonprofit was to train service dogs, but
that was the main core of it, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to do that. My saying is one service dog, one veteran, one family at a time. But I realized that the service dog part of it, component, I could collaborate with other people, and that was my key thing. And with the veterans, when he was little, I went through a program to become a life coach and health coach. And during that schooling, he went with me the whole time. And so my mentor there, Mary Morrissey, saw him grow and saw me grow. And through her, I got off 22 medications.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and now I'm only on 3. So, so that's why it's a possibility for veterans, because with his paw in my hand, it's priceless. And when we travel, I always open up that God is so smart, because his name backward is what?
D-O-G.
Dog, yeah. So I'm really excited about the transition we're doing.
Great. So now we are actually, pardon me, we're actually started collaborating in our local community. And you and I did an interview in January, and then we were asked to film this project in Hemet. Can you talk a little bit about that project?
Yeah, it's really funny. I thought one of my friends knew you, and so I ended up calling you, and then we hit it off. And so I was talking about I wanted to do collaborations, and you were a film producer, and you've done a lot of work. And I wanted to do iPhone movies, and I came up with givingveteransavoice.com. And so those are little projects that I'm going to do. But Sheryl and I, in, what was it, March? No.
In January, we did the video about the service officer over the American Legion post in Hemet.
Right, but this will
And
thing.
then our current project that we did last month was the Veteran Warriors
Yeah,
team
yeah.
of the U.S. Power Soccer Association. So this was a group of veterans. There's 4 of them original members, and now it's 8, because people love this idea of not just veterans, but the first game that we saw, they challenged a group of young boys,
Kids. Yeah,
about
so
12 years old, 14 years old, and they had this awesome team. And it's the empowerment of these individuals that got them to join the Power Soccer team.
So we did that video, and we put it together, and that was the first of many. Clover Lane Foundation is really supporting us, and that was our first one. And we're going to start doing what's called Women in Our Own Backyard, and we're going to do more of these. But this one is our first one that we just started with.
Yes, it is. So we're excited. I would like to just take this moment to say thank you to Mr. Jerry Chase of Clover Lane Foundation, who is sponsoring this program, because what he's doing in our community is he's really trying to get veterans to get out of their house and become involved in something other than staying in the house. Hemet is a senior community for the most part, and so a lot of the services and businesses cater to that community. But Mr. Chase realized that the veterans were becoming too self-isolated, and he wanted to come up with programs that he helps to sponsor to get veterans to become more self-reliant, more social.
Yeah, so that's one of the key things. And then the other thing is that I was really empowered with is with Sheryl, and we have some young guys that we're working with. We have a service dog for one of them, is us veterans giving veterans a voice to educate our civilians that we can all work together and grow. And I think that's really important for where we are today in the world.
And that certainly is what Mr. Chase is doing with the Clover Lane Foundation within our community, because he is a veteran himself, and he believes that empowering others is really the key to happiness, personal satisfaction in our lives, and getting out of the house and doing something positive.
Right, right. So this is where we are today.
So this is a great place to be. I myself, I'm a veteran. I served in the Women's Army Corps from 1968 to 1971. I retired from the EDD as a vet rep. I actually started this TV show quite a while back. But when the studio converted to high definition, I decided to take a break from the studio and figure out how we could keep this going. And nonprofit groups came up to me and said, can you help us tell our story?
Right.
And can you do this, and can you present our group? Because there's so many benefits available to the veteran population. They simply do not know what's available to them. That's the original intent of the series. But in these last couple of years, I've learned to become a filmmaker through the LACMA, which is LA County Museum of Art Veterans Make Movies program, and you're going to be starting that next week.
I am.
That program changed my life and taught me that I could do this, that I could become an independent filmmaker, that I could tell stories, that I didn't have to rely on somebody else to film and do the editing. And so we are learning to do this, and we do it on the iMovie when we go out on location, so it turns out pretty good. So, you know, it's all about telling veteran stories, getting people involved in the veteran groups, because all the veteran groups do, the American Legion, the VFW, the Disabled American Veterans, they all, their basic core mission is, how do we help veterans? How do we get them their benefits? How do we educate them about their benefits? So it's all about empowering veterans and educating them that their service is valuable to this nation, and this nation rewards them with things like the GI Bill for education, the GI Bill to buy a house, CalVet. We live in the state of California, so CalVet. So there's all these great programs, and veterans don't know. If I had $1 every time a veteran said to me, I didn't know I was eligible for that.
Right.
It's just amazing to me. So I just want to say I'm just thrilled to be here and excited. So let's talk about that rock star of a dog that you have over there.
Well, London he's my hero. He's a Vizsla. He's now 5. And he's kind of pooped out right now. Come here. Come here. And that's because we have movement. And he's trying to protect me, so he's doing what he needs to do. And in a case like that, come here.
Yeah, let's show what he can do.
Come here, under. Well, he's running interference because he was distracted over there, so he's coming over here. Come here.
So how old is London?
He's 5.
So, and you've had him since he was a puppy?
Since he was as big as his head.
So he had this great big head and these tiny
And these
little body
long
and
legs that he could not run into, but
you're
now
a good dog.
he's a good boy, and he's a ham, aren't you? Yes, you are.
So let's talk about the importance of service dog for veterans, because a lot of veterans don't know that through the VA they can get a service dog.
Yes, and well, and the organizations that I'm working with now is they just need a note from their doctor. The psychiatrist is some type of letter. And we're trying to really educate the public because there's a difference. This is a service dog. Come here. Go around. Come on. Go around. London, go around. Come here. Oh, I got to get up. Come here. A service dog is about a medium-sized dog. And its reason for it is because you can stabilize yourself. And before I had a knee replacement, he was my rock on being stable. Sit. And if there's distractions like there was, he'll bark and then he'll look at me and then he'll come and figure out what we need to do. Because I get really anxious in public and he picks up on it. And so he knows I'm a little anxious being on TV.
So he really calms you down.
Yeah, he does. He's my rock. Come here. Yeah. If I didn't have him, I could honestly say I wouldn't be here. Because both my parents are in heaven, and it's just me, so now it's me and my dog.
So he saved your life. That's awesome. So we're going to show our segment that we did on the Veteran
I'm really
Warriors
excited
team
about that.
of the U.S. Power Soccer Association. It's just a great idea, and it's a great way for veterans who are, or for anyone who is in a wheelchair, to get out in the community and show what you can do. And they have an absolute blast.
Right on.
My name is Johnny Sandoval. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, third-class infantryman. I've been doing wheelchair games since 2001, 14 years straight. The wheelchair games has really changed my life. You know, it gave me a better quality life. It made me more sociable to reach out to more of the veterans. And you veterans out there who have never been to the wheelchair games, I encourage you to go. If you want a better quality of life, I recommend you sign up and join us at the wheelchair games in Louisville, Kentucky. It'll change your life like it did for me. But your life got a whole lot better.
Okay, and what do you mean by quality of life?
I'm more sociable. I go and hang out more with other people. I reach out to the people in the community. I don't care if they're a veteran or not. I will reach out to them if they're disabled and they need help with anything. I'm there for them.
Anything you want to add to that?
Sign up, go to the wheelchair again. We'll see you in Louisville, Kentucky.
Awesome, dude.
I also play power soccer. I'm a first timer on the soccer field. I'm just barely learning the sport. I know I got a lot to learn. So all you veterans out there, come on, join our team. Want to practice? We'll be glad to help you out. Join the Veteran Warriors. We're out here in Hammett, local team. We get to do games and show what we can do in the chair.
Hi, my name is William Hendrickson. I'm an Army veteran from Fort Knox, Kentucky. I'm a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout. I'm a Veteran Warrior Power Soccer Team member. Been doing wheelchair sports now for about 13 years. Getting out and being part of the public is a big part of living, and you can't let the wheelchair stop you. I got involved with wheelchair power soccer about 8 years ago, and it was such a great experience. I continued, and now I'm a part of a league, a national team. We practice every week, get out and play them at as many tournaments as possible. Events like this are what keeps us alive.
My name is Al Marconi, and I'm a veteran of the Navy and the Army. These games mean a whole lot to me, mostly because, well, the doctors, the nurses, they can patch up our wounds. But these things, they mend the holes that we got inside. And a lot of people, they see us like that and they look at it and think that we're disabled. We're disabled, but we're not handicapped.
Right.
And these kind of things allow us, give us the opportunity so that we're handy-capable. And that's about all I gotta say. I mean, if it wasn't for this, I'd probably be laying in a bed. They told me I'd never walk again. I'd still walk a little bit. But this beats the heck out of feeling sorry for yourself.
Right on.
And so,
Thank you for your service.
And thank you for caring. And thank everybody for the same. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Julian Big Daddy Perez. The reason we started the Veteran Warriors was because when we went to the National Veterans Wheelchair Games, by the help of two referees, Andy Green and Mike D. McCoy, they encouraged us to try to get a team going. So we kept talking and talking, and an announcer named Tony Jackson, that he announces the games for us over there, helped us out too, and they introduced me to Steve Everett, which for 2 years we've been talking, and finally through the help of Jerry Chase, Empire Mobility, and Veterans Move Forward, we had the opportunity to create a team. And with creating this team, we got to bring in some good comrades that we had in the games. The other part that we have that's really good is that when you go to the Veterans Games, and it's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky this year, you will come back feeling like you were back in the military. Your camaraderie's there, you create new friends, and the best thing that happens to you is your heart is full of joy, and it's just a great thing to come up there. So don't forget, if you get a chance, go in. If not this year, next year we'll be in Oregon. Come in, do your job, sign up, and go to the Veterans Wheelchair Games.
How has this changed your life?
It's changed my life by bringing back my drive for sports that I've always had. I've been very competitive all my life, and it was really missing once I lost my leg. Couldn't play softball no more. So what I ended up doing was I had actually got talked to by West LA by a gentleman over there. And then when I came to Loma Linda, Al Marconi actually seen me zooming around the whole place, and he goes, "Hey man, you'd be good to play in these games." And from there on, I came to the games, and I am so glad that I did that, because the main thing is my life has changed. Just like everybody that goes to these games, you feel wanted and appreciated for being disabled.
This is the first all-veteran wheelchair games team, which is the United States Power Soccer Association. We're the only all-vet team in the nation at this point, and we're hoping that other veterans will get the same amount of pleasure of this and create their own team, so that maybe one time there can be an all-veteran league.
Colors begin. So, Mr. Chase here, and everybody else can come up. Mr. Chase is the founder of a very important foundation, yes, Ronnie, that is making a difference in the lives of veterans here in the San Jacinto Valley. His team has put together this amazing event, but it's truly only the beginning of what he wants to do here in the Valley. He's working with all of the different veterans organizations in our Valley. And what he wants to do is not only bring awareness to the needs of veterans in this Valley, but he's bringing resources and everything else that's needed to truly make a difference in the lives of our veterans. So ladies and gentlemen, could we together thank Mr. Jerry Chase and his team for the wonderful work that he is doing in our Valley.